Hi, I'm Jill.
And I'm John.
And we're the Geezers on the Go.
Go, go, go.
This time we're at Lee State Park in South Carolina, built by the CCC in 1935 along the banks of the Lynches River. It's a great kayaking and fishing hotspot. The park is one of the oldest in the state and is located near Bishopville, about 50 miles east of Columbia. Lee has 2 loops with 48 sites. One is designated the Standard Loop, the other is an Equestrian Loop with 12 miles of horse trails and a full-size show arena. About half the sites have full hookups.
Much to our shock and awe, 2 days after we got to Lee, we got 3 inches of snow. And so yes, we left our snow shovels at home. Before the snow struck, we were able to find 3 of the park's 5 famed Artisian wells, which have been free-flowing since the CCC built them nearly 100 years ago. And after the ice and snow melted off the roads, we paid a visit to a unique little cotton museum in Bishopville. We were impressed.
We're here at Lee State Park in Bishopville, South Carolina, sort of maybe central South Carolina. We're here, take 2. I usually start off with we're here at the campground, and here we are at Lee State Park in Bishopville, South Carolina. And I did my other one 2 days ago, and look what happened. We had 2 to 3 inches of snow. There's 2 loops here. We're in what they call the Standard Loop, and then there's another one that has horse stalls and things. And just about all the sites here have full hookups, water, electric, and sewer. Ours does. Lots of trees, but I think they could have made the spaces a little bit farther apart. They were kind of close, and the roads here need a lot of work. There's lots of potholes. We've had some rain, and there's lots of puddles, and if you go any more than 5 miles an hour in this park, you're gonna bottom out because it's really bad. But other than that, the park so far looks nice. I know some people don't like to take showers or whatever in their trailers, and there's a very nice bathroom house over there. There's 4 separate stalls, and they're self-contained. There's this nice shower and toilets in one room, so you have the whole thing to yourself. But as I said, it's mostly sandy. Some aren't bad. Some are a little more level than others. We were supposed to have this site, but we ended up moving over to that site because we thought some bad weather was coming, and this one wasn't available for a couple of days. It's still pretty chilly. It's Inauguration Day, and it's kind of cold. And this loop goes from 1 to I think it's 23 or 24 in what they call the Standard Loop. And that one's number 15. That one's kind of nice. That's a big site. Some are deep and some are kind of a little shorter. So check, when you're coming, making your reservations, that it'll fit. Some are a little more difficult to get into because there are a lot of trees and they just left them all. And that's pretty deep, but in between the trees. I just stepped in a puddle, wasn't watching. So there's sites on both sides of this loop. I guess that's the outer loop, and over here is the inner loop. And I wouldn't take 18, that's kind of rough, but you're by the bathroom. And that's number 20. 21, be tough in between the trees, but not too bad. Some is more shaded than others. Like there's a couple on the end here that Don't have a lot of shade. Looks like a tree was cut down here not that long ago. But this is what it looks like. Very rustic looking. Although it has full lookups. As you first come in, there's site number 1, site number 2, and on this side it's all woods, and there's quite a few trails that go out. There's a boardwalk trail here. There's Artisian wells, and springs to go see. There's a old CCC cabin, because they built the park in the 1930s, as were a lot of state parks built by them. And so that's number 2. We got number 3 over here. To come around, that site is kind of odd to me. It's 4. I don't know how you get in that one. It's sort of backwards. You'd have to maybe come in from the opposite direction, but that's number 5. Wouldn't be too bad, and you see it will fit big rigs. Most of them are at least around 40 feet deep, but some are shorter. But like I said right here, if you look here, look at these big potholes and stuff in the roadway. Our loop isn't too bad, but the horse loop is really bad. So we'll go walk through there. As you come into the park here, I said right about where site 6 is, the road splits, and we missed that little sign that's over there that said that we should have gone this way, because we're right there. And we ended up going this way, which is mostly the horse area, and this road down here is awful. This is an equine campground, but you must keep your horses over there and not into the other part, and they have this little sign here that says no horses beyond this point. But you don't have to have horses to be here. If you like one of the spaces, like this one's a nice, it's 26, it's a pull-through. That wouldn't be a bad spot, except that your door is facing the road. And again, there's the trails are back over that way. Corrals. So starting at about site 26, it goes around. These are all the horse facilities, but I don't see one horse here. So I don't know where they all are. It's too cold. 28 would be a nice spot if you had horses, because it's a pull-through with the corrals right behind it. You could pull in there, and the picnic table would be really nice. Not to say that if you didn't have horses, you could be there too. So, but back there, you could easily get to, I think, the trails from here that go out into the woods. Well, I think I've just determined that most of these sites over here are pull-throughs. Probably easier if you're pulling a horse trailer. I would say I'd like the ones better on the outer loop, because at least your door would be facing out into the woods, as opposed to the ones on this side where your door could be right out on the road, except for this guy. He pulled in the opposite way, so I guess you could do that too. But that's like 30 back there, and it'd be pretty nice. Hope you can see here how the road is. Lots of more potholes. As you can tell by the big puddles how deep they must be. Another big hole. And we made the mistake and came down this road the other day, and it was really tough. You had to really watch where you're going, and at one point I thought we scraped our steps, but we survived it. But they need to do some work on their roads.
Now this is the primitive camping area here. Got a nice big fire pit in the middle of it, some picnic tables. Just throw your tent out there and camp your little hearts out. We're headed up this little road here because we wanted to get a look at the horse arena, which is up here a ways, I guess. It's you can ride to it on your by horseback, or you can drive up to it when the road is open. And they just reopened this road. They had a lot of water on the road after a recent rain, so it was closed for a little while.
Well, we finally made it down to the equestrian area. We're going to show you what that looks like. It's probably about a mile or so from the campground. It looks like a big facility down here. She said they have lots of events down here, and on Wednesdays there's usually some kind of a organized trail ride if you want to go through, I guess depending on the weather. Right now it's kind of cold, so there's not anybody around. It's a full facility here. So you see here you have a couple of stalls, there's water buckets, picnic tables, and a very nice arena. And like I said, it looks like they must have just had some barrel races here because it's set up with the barrels still in the arena. And it looks like they also can have things at night. It's got lights, a couple more corrals over on the other side there, and maybe a small barn in the back. We don't usually do what we call our talking heads inside, but the weather just turned too cold for us.
We got snowed on, so we moved indoors.
Yeah.
You know, I've been on a snow camp since I was in the Boy Scouts.
Yeah, it's
And I didn't really plan this one either, but it snowed on us.
Yeah, there was a big, towards the middle end of January, a big snowstorm went right across the south, and we got about 3 inches of snow. I've never been in South Carolina when it snowed.
And I've never been so cold in South Carolina either. But we got to see some of the park. We saw some artesian wells and a couple of big ponds that they have there, and part of Lynch's river.
And we also got to visit a cool cotton museum.
Oh yeah, later in Bishopville, which is the town nearby, we went to see a cotton museum, which is one of the most informative museums I think I've been to in a long time.
And they also have an adjacent Veterans Museum, which was kind of cool. A lot of local veteran stuff and pictures and artifacts and things. That was well, this is out our camper door at 4 o'clock in the afternoon in South Carolina, and it's snowing out. Is this weird or what? So we'll see how much we get. This is crazy. It's January 21st. It should be a lot warmer than this. This is probably the craziest weather we've ever had in South Carolina. It's January 22nd, and we've had 2 to 3, maybe 4 inches of snow. Sun's just coming up. It's about 25 degrees. I'm glad we don't have to leave today. The whole southern area of the United States got snow from Texas through the Carolinas. And here we are, supposed to be snowbirding, not snow shoveling. It looks pretty, but it's cold and it's not supposed to warm up too much. They said the main roads are pretty good. It'll just be a trek to how we get out of here in about 2 days, so hopefully it won't be too bad. Luckily for us, the sun did come out and the snow did melt before we had to leave. Here at Lee State Park, there's supposed to be some artesian wells back here, so it's freezing cold. It's about 35 degrees, but we're gonna go look.
There's an arrow over there, Jill. I don't know what it's pointing to, but
I see some other ones down there.
The sign here, they're talking about, can ponds have secrets? And apparently the secrets that these ponds hold is that they're not natural. They were built in the 1930s by the CCC.
Who built the park?
Yeah, who built the park. The other secret, well, it's not a secret, it's sort of a mystery, is these ponds were originally built to raise fish for Lynch's Creek.
Oh, like a hatchery almost.
Well, yeah, it would have been like a hatchery, but in 1937, when the fish were supposed to get here to stock these 2 ponds and start growing fish, they never arrived. And nobody knows why.
Well, when it's not 35 degrees and probably a little bit warmer, this pond here says you can swim. There's a life ring and it's a little, it says no lifeguard, so I wouldn't think so, but there's the pond right here, and there's picnic tables, and I can see in the distance where the artesian water is coming out of the spring over there, so we'll go look at that. This is where the water is coming out, and it goes out into the pond. Oh boy. Look at that. This little sign here talking about the wells. It says, imagine working 24 hours a day, 7 days a week for decades and decades. Boy, you'd be tired. But it says that's how the Artesian well works. Water gets trapped in under the ground, and until somebody drills down into it, it just stays under there. It pumps water without electricity. This well, it says it's about 100 feet deep. And they drilled 7 wells here at the park in the 1930s. Today, 5 of them still work. And they slowed down a little bit in drought, but right now they look running pretty good. There's the water coming out of the well. And it comes down into there, through this little trench, and then out into the lake. There's another one of the wells here, and Johnny gonna try the water?
Well, I'm not going to drink any of it, but it's warm.
I was surprised.
Yeah, I mean it's 35 degrees outside, and that water must be
At least
60.
Yeah, it's not cold. I would have thought coming out from under the ground would be cold, but
You
it's
could
not.
warm your hands up.
I know. Down a little ways from where the Equestrian Center was, with the arena is, there's a primitive camping area, and this leads you down to the Lynch's River. And there's a little shack here to warm up in, and we'll take a walk down there. The ranger told me there's another one of those artesian springs, and here it is, right here. So if you're so inclined and you wanted to go from the campground, that's probably at least 2-3 miles from the campground on a crappy road, but here's the other spring, and this one has a little spout there so you can fill up your water bottle. About 10 miles from the campground, we have the South Carolina Cotton Museum, and the road in here says it was the Cotton Trail, so we're going to go in and see what's to see about South Carolina cotton.
I give change with $2 bills.
Oh.
Now the reason, we do not have paper money. We have cotton money. That $2 bill is an average of 80% cotton. All our other bills are an average of 70% cotton. That's why you can leave your money in your pocket, wash it, you get back clean money. If it was paper, you can get anything back, right?
It would just fall apart.
That's correct. But the most important takeaway on cotton is that 100% everything about it is used. Everything about cotton has a monetary value. Like this is the seed cotton. And when you pinch and squeeze it, feel for the seeds.
Oh, yeah, okay.
And that's what you want. The farmer picks the seed cotton. He then puts it into modules. These round ones are 5,000 to 6,000 pounds each of seed cotton. Seed cotton goes to the cotton gin. The gin is going to strip out all the seeds. It does some cleaning. In return, 500-pound bale with no seed. That is exactly how you bring them to the textile mill. 2/3 of the weight of cotton is seed, but the seed is worth a lot of money. The seed goes to the oil mill, cottonseed oil. Even after the seed is crushed and you get the oil out of it, what's left is ground into cottonseed meal. The cottonseed itself is all protein. So you take cottonseed meal, you add it to your cattle feed, you get high protein butter and high protein milk.
You've heard the old saying, I'm doing fair to middling. Well, that comes from cotton fields, where one cotton farmer might ask the other, how you doing? And he would say, oh, fair to middling. And that was 2 grades of cotton.
This must be the lid cotton, because I don't feel any of the seeds in it. But boy, I wish you could have...
Yeah, that's been through the cotton gin.
Oh, nice and soft. So
Yeah, I'll never get Jill out of here now.
I'm going to sleep in here.
This is what a tenant house might have looked like on an old cotton farm. Very simple, 1 room, Bed in the corner, little kitchen, eating table.
A little story here about somebody called the mill girls, and a lot of the women worked in the factories and not in the fields. And they said they worked most of the time until they got married. But if they were married and they had a baby, they were allowed to go home at 9 a.m. and 3 p.m. so that they could nurse their babies. Wasn't that nice of them? Also in this Cotton Museum, there's a Veterans Museum. It gives you some of the history of the vets of the area, and it's a pretty big place. All this military artwork in here was collected by an individual, I guess it's Elvin Price, and he donated it all to this museum here because he was local. The curator here said that the Smithsonian wanted it, but he decided it should stay local. And some of it is incredible artwork with signatures, and there's some artifacts here from World War II, and I just love this one. It says Hitler dead from the Stars and Stripes, but in there in the corner it says kaput.
And with that, we were kaput for this episode. Thanks for joining us on our adventure, and as always, we'll see you down the road.
Stop!